And it is the District 3. I'm going to turn it over to Councillor Stevens, who has a brilliant idea of coming here this morning.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Derry. Thank you for being here today. And again, thank you to our Principal Powers for making this possible. I'm in awe of this school, and I was first updated on the school when I came here for bond issuance hearing for $7 million for a new school wing. And again, it's an exemplary school, and I thank them for opening up their homes today for us. At this point, I'd like to introduce Chief Greeley, who will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great, thank you very much. Now, we always want to take the opportunity to highlight and thank and recognize various groups and individuals and organizations that do a lot for our communities that sometimes go unrecognized. Being here in Derry, one of the first groups we want to recognize today are our friends over at the Center for Life Management. Big Coco and his team. Obviously, when we talk about issues of mental illness, we talk about the need for better community-based solutions. This is an area where I think the state as a whole, both the legislature, myself, the council, everyone is really, the judicial system especially, has taken a real dive in to not just put more money into the system, but try to do things a different way and kind of hear from the stakeholders. Vic, come on over. Vic, his team, their advocacy, if you will, in trying to help us design systems that are more stakeholder-based, that are really based on what the customer needs are and where a lot of those barriers are, where as opposed to what the bureaucracy and what the government traditionally did. I think this was very instrumental. The 10-year mental health plan that was redone, having their voice at that table was huge in representing. I mean, you have a huge breadth of representation around here. So you're local, but I mean, you cover a lot of areas now. 11 towns. Do you want to talk just a little bit about CLM?
Sure. For those of you, good morning, everybody. For those of you who may or may not know much about us, we're the comprehensive community mental health center for this region. We serve 11 towns. We serve about 6,000 people now. We're up to. We've added a lot of services over the years and continue to do everything we can to support people with mental illness and their families.
That's great. That's great. So we do have a commendation recognizing the Center for Life Management, whereas every year millions of people in the U.S. are impacted by mental illness, making it challenging for those individuals to thrive at school, at home, or at the workplace, and actively participate in their communities. And whereas the Center for Life Management provides comprehensive mental health services, therapy and evidence-based treatment, medication services, acute care and crisis support, community-based and family support, specialized services for adults, children, adolescents, and families. And whereas it's crucial to understand that mental illness is highly treatable, and also important to recognize that the future prosperity of New Hampshire is closely tied to our ability to support the mental health and well-being of our citizens. Now, therefore, I, Christopher T. Sununu, Governor of the State of New Hampshire, do hereby commend the Center for Life Management for its commitment to providing quality mental health services for all of our citizens. Thank you. Here, let's all get in nice and quick. Get a photo here with the council. Great. Thank you guys very much. So, as many of you may have witnessed as you were coming in, we had a great demonstration from our friends at State Police, and specifically the K-9 unit, our furry friends that are more than just friends, that really do a lot of the amazing work and the ability for what these K-9s can do. It isn't just, it always seems to be something new. Some of the smartest animals you'll ever see. some of the best friends to our law enforcement. So what we want to do is recognize and have a commendation for the New Hampshire State Police K-9 unit. So if Colonel Hall and his K-9 team are out there, someone, I don't know, are they there? I literally can see them. Oh, really? Let's give them a round of applause. Round of applause. There you go. Sir. So how about this? For those of us, for those who may not have seen the presentation outside, you want to talk to us a little bit about the unit, what types of situations they may be called in, the staffing and the teams?
Yes, sir. For those of you that didn't get to see our demo, our unit is made up of 28 teams. Those teams have multiple disciplines. We have the ability in our K-9 teams to sweep and detect bombs, explosives, firearm detection if a firearm or bullet casings are discarded during a crime. We have the ability to find narcotics in motor vehicles, in schools, in prisons. We have the ability to track and find lost people, missing people, Alzheimer's patients, as well as criminals. Out of our 28 teams, we're separated by 22 in a certain discipline, and then 6 fall under Sergeant Sear, who also runs the bomb squad. The unique part of our K-9 unit, I think I can speak to Sergeant Sear on this, is all our bomb teams, all our bomb dogs, are also handled by explosive technicians. Sergeant Sear, is that correct?
That is correct. So we have 5 bomb dogs right now, and they're assigned to bomb tech. So we'll have a 6th dog going down. He will be a bomb tech as well. It's just waiting for his FBI exclusive on that. So we handle all like the presidential stuff. You probably see us at the State House for when you guys are in session doing sweeps, as well as all like large sporting events and everything down there with our dogs and whatnot. So the benefit is if our dog alerts on something, we have the ability to mitigate that risk, to whether it's X-rays or put bomb tech down in a suit to find what that hazard is.
Excellent. Yeah, and like I said, with our 28 teams, we have the ability, we're lucky that we can have so many disciplines that we can cover throughout the state. And we thank you for the support with that, Governor. It obviously takes a lot of support to be able to support our 28 teams and our mission of utilizing these dogs for the state.
And 28 teams, 28 dogs.
28 teams, 28 dogs, yeah.
And are they, are they all the same kind of dogs?
We have many, many different breeds. We're very unique as a K-9 unit. We have everything from Dutch Shepherds to Belgian Malinois to German Shepherds to Black Labs, different type of Labrador Retrievers to different types of hound, bloodhound, foxhounds. Yeah,
Do they all respond to the same commands? Are they trained relatively the same, but with different specialties?
Ours are a little bit different. We have all labs, so for us it's like for like go search, just go find it and use the dog well. And our alerts are a little bit different in some aspects, and then the same as ours. All ours just will sit and they just hyper focus when they're on the odor. Ideally for us though, if our dog, you know your dog, so like my dog Remy, she's a little nubtail. When her tail starts going about 300 miles an hour, the little nub starts going, I know she's in odor and just how she'll start breathing. On a live search, I'm pulling her off because we don't want her to get too close to it, because now we're going to go in there and start searching the area, whether it's with a robot or putting a long tack down in a long suit. So, but if they're on it, they'll sit and they just hyper focus, just like a bird dog, and they're just like focused right on that. So,
And the dogs come home?
yes, all of them come home different. Like here, that cattle ours are inside. They're labs. They work off love and affection. I know my dog, like if I were to yell at her, she's gonna just shut down. So she just wants to just love. Like that's all she wants to do is just work, find her calm, and just keep working. So
Okay, that's great. That's great. Well, thank you guys very much, and big thanks to the friends who are all 28 of them who are not with us today. But a commendation recognizing the New Hampshire State Police. Please call you, Senator. A commendation recognizing the New Hampshire State Police K-9 unit, whereas the K-9 unit has been an integral part of New Hampshire State Police since its establishment in 1963, providing crucial services across the state. And whereas the teams consisting of specially trained troops and their K-9 partners are strategically assigned to all troop barracks within New Hampshire, performing essential functions such as patrol, search and rescue, drug detection, human remain detection, and explosive and gunshot residue detection, in adherence to the rigorous New England State Police Administrators Conference standards. And whereas the K-9 unit executes over 1,000 missions annually, significantly contributing to the public safety by searching for wanted individuals and evidence, apprehending fleeing suspects, locating missing persons, detecting illicit drugs, and supporting various state and law enforcement agencies. Now, therefore, I, Christopher T. Sununu, Governor of the State of New Hampshire, do hereby commend the New Hampshire State Police K-9 unit for its unwavering dedication, exceptional service, and substantial impact on enhancing safety and security within the Green State. Yeah, go, please.
So when the dogs retire, they go home, retirement with their handlers. They don't have retirement benefits. So there is a 501c3 I just donated over the weekend to help cover their costs, their medical bills, so that they can go into retirement healthy and happy. So what is the website?
The website's New Hampshire Canine Troopers Association, nhcta.org. And again, it is to support all our retired dogs. Some of our dogs retired 8, 9, 10 years old. They live another 2, 4, 5 years. I just lost my 13-and-a-half-year-old dog 3 weeks ago. About a month ago, I had to put him down after he served with the state for almost 10 years. He lived 3.5 more years. And fortunately, the Canine Association was able to support my family and I and this dog financially through food, medical bills, and things like that. And how we support that is we try to do fundraisers throughout the year, a golf tournament, cornhole, and just generous donations as we thank you for. So it's an excellent, organization. It's an excellent association that was created about 15 years ago. We continue to, support it the best way we can. Thank you.
You can go online today.
Great.
and Make that donation.
Great. So if the councilors want to join us, we'll kind of get it nice and tight for a photo here. Great. Thank you guys. Turn again. All right, so moving forward, I'm going to officially call this meeting of the Governor and Executive Council to order. I'm going to begin by asking for a motion to approve the meeting minutes of our July 24th, 2024 meeting. We have a motion and a second. Any questions or changes to those meeting minutes? Oh, Councilor Warren, sorry.
Your Governor, just a couple of, there were a couple of errors in the minutes that I've given to the Secretary of State, so everyone should receive a copy.
Oh, okay. Great. Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much. Any additional changes to the meeting minutes or questions? Okay, hearing none, all in favor of accepting the meeting minutes with the revisions provided by Council Warren, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? For that, those meeting minutes are approved. Next, from the Office of the Secretary of State, the Halifax Civil Commissions, could I ask for a motion to accept the list of civil commissions? So moved. Great. A motion second. Any additions or changes to the list of civil commissions? Okay, hearing no changes. All in favor of the list of civil commissions as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? For that, the list of civil commissions is approved. approved. We have 2 resignations to accept today. From the appellate board, could I have a motion to accept the resignation of Angela Finney of Concord?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on Ms. Finney? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? With that, Ms. Finney's resignation is accepted. And from the Public Utilities Commission, could I have a motion to accept the resignation of Carlton Simpson of Hampton?
So moved.
Second. Any discussion?
I just wanted to thank you for your service to the state of New Hampshire. I understand you was my grandma's second set of twins, so it's going to be quite busy in a couple of days and years.
Very rapid run here, Ron. He did a phenomenal job. Other questions? Any other comments, questions? Okay, with that, all in favor of accepting the resignation, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? With that, Carlton resignation is accepted. That concludes the resignations, but we have some confirmations to move on to today. Okay, so I'll begin by asking for a motion to confirm Ryan Villegas of Moultonborough to the Air Resources Council. So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Just a note, Governor, that while we're doing some reappointments to this council, Air Resources Council today, there are 2 positions, that public practicing position and that of someone representing the interests of the public that we need unfilled on this resource council. And as I mentioned at the last meeting, several positions on the Waste Management Council to represent the interests of the public that remain unfilled.
Further discussion on Ryan? Okay, hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That Ryan is confirmed. Could I have a motion to confirm Chris Neal Blomback of Henniker to the Air Resources Council?
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chris is confirmed. Could I have a motion to confirm Jason Leduc of Portsmouth to the Air Resources Council?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Jason is confirmed. Could I have a motion to confirm Alec O'Meara of Exeter to the Air Resources Council?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Alex is confirmed. Could I have a motion to confirm Jennifer Carrier of Guilford to the Board of Physical Therapists?
So moved.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Jennifer is confirmed. Could I have a motion to confirm Nicole Lavoy of Nashua to the Board of Physical Therapists?
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nicole is confirmed. Could I have a motion to confirm Lindsay Stepp of Holderness as the Commissioner of the Department of Revenue Administration?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? With that, Ms. Stepp is reconfirmed. Could I have a motion to confirm Tiffany Crowell of Concord as the Director of Nursing for the Department of Corrections?
So moved.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? With that, Tiffany is confirmed. Could I have a motion to confirm Cassandra Levitt of Hampton to the Enhanced 911 Commission?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That Cassandra is confirmed. Could I have a motion to confirm Patrick Robinson of Manchester to the Enhanced 911 Commission?
So moved.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That Patrick is confirmed. Could I have a motion to confirm David Stack of Concord to the Enhanced 911 Commission?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That David's confirmed. Could I have a motion to confirm Thomas Ballestero of Madbury to the New England Interstate Water Pollution Control Commission?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That Tom is confirmed. Could I have a motion to confirm Frederick McNeil of Manchester to the New England Interstate Water Pollution Control Commission?
So moved.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That Frederick is confirmed. Could I have a motion to confirm Marco Philippon of Concord to the New England Interstate Water Pollution Control Commission?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That Marco is confirmed. Could I have a motion to confirm Robert Varney of Bow to the New England Interstate Water Pollution Control Commission?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That Bob is confirmed. Could I have a motion to confirm Aaron Hammerstedt of Harrisville to the New Hampshire Land and Community Heritage Authority Board of Directors?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That Aaron's confirmed. Could I have a motion to confirm Rodney Rowland of Newcastle to the New Hampshire Land and Community Heritage Board of Directors?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That Rodney is confirmed. Could I have a motion to confirm Diana Brown of Tilton to the New Hampshire Veterans Home Board of Management?
So moved.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Diana is confirmed. Could I have a motion to confirm Tom Frawley of Lyme to the Oil Fund Disbursement Board?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That Tom is confirmed. Can I have a motion to confirm Daniel Freihoffer of Lyme to the Oil Fund Disbursement Board?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That Daniel's confirmed. Could I have a motion to confirm Tom Clem Jr. of Pelham to the Oil Fund Disbursement Board?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That Tom is confirmed. Can I have a motion to confirm Kevin Shepherd of Manchester to the Oil Fund Disbursement Board?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That Kevin's confirmed. Could I have a motion to confirm Lindsay Liberty of Hooksett to the pharmacy as the pharmacy investigator within the Office of Professional Licensure and Certification?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Lindsay is confirmed. And finally, on the list today, can I have a motion to confirm Gretchen Young of Dover to the Wax Council?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? With that, correction is confirmed. And that concludes our confirmations today. I do have some nominations to place into the list, into the record. To the appellate board, I nominate Philip Blackos of Goffstown. To the Board of Land Surveyors, I nominate Jessica Call of Wolfboro and Stephen Machado of Somersboro. As the Deputy Director of the Division of Motor Vehicles within the Department of Safety, I nominate Janet Bouchard of Guilford. As the Director of the Division of Forest and Lands, the State Forester within the Department of Natural and Cultural Resources, I nominate Patrick Hackley of Gilmington. To the Fire Standards and Training Commission, I nominate John Keller of Pembroke. To the Manufactured Housing Installation Standards Board, I nominate Kevin Lacasse of New Hampton. To the New Hampshire Veterans Home Board of Managers, I nominate Ray Goulet of Manchester. To the Real Estate Appraisers Board, I nominate Justin Makagapa of New Boston. And to the State Veterans Council, I nominate James Adams of Pittsfield. That concludes the nominations for today. Moving on, we do have our consent calendar agenda. I'll begin by asking for a motion to adopt the consent calendar agenda. So moved. Second. We have a motion second. Any questions or items to be removed for additional discussion? Councilor Wilmington.
5G, please.
5G. Additional items to be removed for additional discussion? Okay, all in favor of adopting the consent calendar agenda with the exception of item 5G, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? With that, those items are approved. Could I get a motion to adopt the consent calendar agenda item 5D? This is a Gopher item. We have any of the folks here from Gopher? Yeah, there's out there. I really apologize, I cannot see much. Flail your arms in the air like Kelly did. There you go. And then, so where's the commission? Oh, right up here. Here, great.
I'm the first one.
Yeah. Sorry.
There we go.
Great.
Okay, hi, good morning.
Good morning, Commissioner. So you have a number of items here on today's agenda. The nursing home infrastructure money that we had allocated previously, where you're asking for delays. This one in particular, 5G, is for the project in Sullivan County, which got the lion's share of the money. The concern that I have is the delay that we're seeing in the spending of this money, recognizing that there's a time limit on this money, and just checking to make sure that in fact with these delays, that this money is going to get spent, so that we won't have to return it to the federal government if these projects are going to get completed, and what your department is doing to make sure that's happening.
Yes, absolutely, Counselor. All of the nursing home programs did request an extension of time to complete their projects. By and large, these are all due to the same sort of delays that we've seen across the scale of different type of capital projects under our programs and other programs. Things like, either difficulty finding labor, or electrical equipment isn't coming in, or prices have gone up and they've had to reconfigure some of their costs. All of these are going to extend beyond the obligation deadline. So we are making a commitment to these projects at this point. These nursing homes have been underway and their work has been moving along at a very good pace. But these are instances where they're going to need some more time to complete, and we didn't feel that it would be fair to pull the money back at this point. So we're asking to extend them into either September or June of 2025 and 2026.
Thank you. I have had some coverage from Sullivan County that they do have an additional funding gap in that project of $15 million, and I encourage them to contact your office, but we obviously want to make sure that that money is actually going to be spent on the project. I would also say that you and I had a conversation that you are optimistic that there will be some additional flexibility provided at the federal level. I did reach out to the congressional delegation to put that on their radar screen, and I would encourage you to engage with the congressional delegation to ask for that kind of flexibility that we need to make sure these funds get expended.
Yes, thank you, Councilor.
Councilor King?
Thank you, Governor. Just a few questions as a this leftover ARPA money. Is it my understanding that the Stratford County Nursing Home project, which gave roughly $55 million, has returned that amount of money back to the state?
Yes, sir. That was last spring.
Okay. So my next question is, it's going to lead into kind of a series of questions, but right now, Coast New Hampshire is putting in a request for some assistance to help build out their central transportation center in Dover. Secondly, I believe the same county that gave up the money is asking for money on its county courthouse to build out its HVAC system. So how much money is actually left in ARPA? And it could be $1 to $1 million, or $10 million, or $100 million. But do you roughly have a good sense of where we're at, what's left, and roughly how many requests have come in, and what the total amount is with those requests?
Yes, Councilor. So where we are right now, and I think we've talked about this before, in terms of needing to be able to get past the end of the fiscal year, and Gopher has been working with our friends at the Department of Administrative Services to get an idea of how much of those funds that were not extended by fiscal committee last spring effectively lapsed and resulted in the amount of money that we could be able to reallocate here before the end of this calendar year. what we're looking at probably is roughly 2 to 3% of the total allocation of under ARPA. So that was $994 million. So we're figuring that comes in at about $24 million at this point. We're finalizing that. The thing that causes us to not be able to say definitively how much there is yet is because there are a few agencies that need to do what we call a write-down memo. So they have to completely shut down a program, get that money, and make sure all the funds have been completely paid out, and that there's not going to be a stranded invoice out there somewhere. So until we can 100% lock that down, the number is going to be right in that realm, $23 to $24 million left of that entire $994 million under the SFRF program that we were allocated now several years ago. So what's going to happen next is anything that's going to include either getting some additional funds or some new programs that are going to be funded are going to start their way through the process at fiscal committee probably in August and September. And they'll get to you shortly after that.
So with that, Governor, so how many requests can come in, and what is the total dollar amount, and has there been a cutoff or a timeline for those requests to come in?
So we've maintained a list since the beginning of all the projects and requests from different agencies, different organizations. We've received the one that you mentioned, the Coast request. That totals probably around 60 to 70 requests that we have in our side. I don't know exactly what the number is because some of them, that number has changed sufficiently or significantly since we first got their application. So what we're doing is getting those in a position to be able to get to fiscal committee here shortly, and then they'll make their way to you guys.
Well, I appreciate that. I know it's a moving target, but I'm just, we're all kind of curious.
Yeah.
It's that old saying, you got a project, well, last year, executive council, they know where the ARPA money is. And then we go to you, Commissioner, we say, is there any ARPA money left?
Yeah.
And then we get an update. But, obviously the ARPA money is not going to last forever. And so hopefully there's a point in time where it ends, and then we, do a lot of new projects. But
I think we're getting close to that, Councilor. I think we're getting to a point where October, November, there's really just not going to be anything really left for us to do to maneuver those funds and to make those decisions. We start to go on autopilot at that point for the final 2 years of the expenditure deadline.
yeah, I appreciate that update. Thank you.
Certainly.
Councilor Stevens?
Commissioner, is it possible to get a spend down on each of these county nursing homes and what they've been allocated?
I'm sorry, what are you?
Could we get the spend down, what they have spent to date on each of these county projects?
Yes, I can pull that together.
Great, thank you.
Councilor Gaddis?
Thank you, Governor. There's a project that's near and dear to my heart and the Governor's heart. I hope that that comes in at the next meeting so that we can move it along.
I do too, Councilor.
Which project is that?
Councilor.
It has to do with Ted Gaddis's furry friend.
Oh,
Andrews Railroad.
oh, excellent.
It's on the list to be discussed. It's on the list. Further discussion? Okay, so thank you. Oh, great. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor of consent calendar agenda item 5G, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? With that item is approved. Moving on, we have our regular agenda. I'm going to begin by asking for a motion to adopt agenda item 6 from the Department of Health and Human Services from the Division of Finance, Procurement.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 6 is approved. Could I have a motion to adopt agenda item 7 from the Department of Health and Human Services from the Division of Long-Term Supports and Services?
Second.
Any discussion? Council Warmington.
Good morning, Lori Weaver, Health and Human Services.
Thank you, Commissioner. I think I'm asking about this item in the right section. I'm asking and wanting to talk about the summer EBT program. We've come a long way since February. I want to thank the department for working with the federal delegation and with USDA and FNS to remove the administrative barriers so that we could apply. And I thank the governor for signing SB 499 this week so that the funding is available. And I'm just wondering if you can tell us now what is the status in order to move this process forward at this point.
Sure. So as you mentioned, all of those pieces have fallen into place, so we are moving forward to be able to get some money out as early as in the next month or so, continuing.
Thank you.
Sure.
Further discussion on item 7? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 7 is approved. Could I get a motion to adopt agenda items 8, 9, and 9A from the Department of Health and Human Services to the Division of Behavioral Health?
Second.
Any discussion on any of these items? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? With that, those items are approved. Could I get a motion to adopt agenda items 10 and 11 from the Department of Health and Human Services in the Division of Public Health Services?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Council Warming.
Yes, Commissioner, we did receive word this week that Planned Parenthood is facing significant deficits in funding and is looking at reduction of services, obviously including cancer screenings, breast exams, pap smears, contraception, STD testing and treatment. These are for the most vulnerable women in our state. This council has defunded Planned Parenthood. I wonder if you can tell us what the department will do to address the public health challenges that will result from Planned Parenthood's cuts.
Good morning, Trish Tilley. I'm Associate Commissioner here at the Department of Health and Human Services. Thank you for that question. We're going to continue working with the 4 providers that we currently have that provide family planning services within our community health centers across the state. We will continue to work with them closely. We will continue to work with our federally qualified health centers who also provide contraception and screening services as part of their primary care services.
Have you been in contact with Planned Parenthood to assess what kind of reduction in services this is going to prevent? The vast majority of women who receive these health services in our state receive them from Planned Parenthood. Have you been in touch with them to assess what kind of cuts in services we might experience in the state?
We welcome a conversation with them as we look at overall population health in the state.
Sure, I would encourage that you do that because we definitely want to make sure that we are getting care to the women of our state.
Thank you.
Further discussion on these items? Okay, seeing none, all in favor of items 10 and 11, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Those items are approved. Could I get a motion to adopt agenda items 12 and 13 from the Department of Health and Human Services from the Division of Economic Development? Any questions, Councilor Kenny?
Yes, morning, Commissioner, how are you doing down there?
Good morning. It's a little dark down here, but otherwise okay.
It's really bright up here. You gotta figure this out. So this is on item 13, the, I believe it's the Opportunity C contract. So the previous contract, which is workforce contract for child care centers around the state, we could say there was a little bit of delay in the checks out to child care centers. Are these accounts already set up, so if we approve this contract today, that those amounts of money will be pushed out, or what's the current setup of this contract to get it out, the resource out to child care centers?
Sure. So the two separate items, right? The workforce development money was that $15 million that I spoke to you about last council meeting, and that money has since gone out. The item before you here today is to allow the department to be in receipt of this money so that we can then turn around immediately and get it out to the providers.
So with that, government moves slow, so we're going to get this money out to the providers. Do you have a sense of timelines? Because when child care centers call me, directors, they always say, you know, this money has been accepted or approved, when are we going to get it? So do they have an understanding when they're going to get it?
Sure. Well, with this particular one, we do have a deadline to get it out by the end of September, and we will do that. We will get it out before. Yeah, September, that's, we will get it out by then, if not before. But I do want to be able to say that, that it isn't just about not getting the money out on time, it's working with all of these providers to get their voice in how they want to use the money. The department did not make the decision in a vacuum about how any of this money would be spent. So it was through the voice of the providers of what they would like to do, and that does, to your point, take some time to be able to do that. In this particular case, we have a vendor that wasn't meeting the expectations and the timelines that we needed to, so we took action, and we'll be getting that money out ourselves.
And Governor Paul, question on another contract on, I believe it's what, the remediation contract, is that forthcoming?
I'm not familiar. Can you tell me a little more?
Well, I've just run by the press release, but there was some contract money for lead main remediation at that shopping center. Is that not in play?
That's a good question.
Karen Hebert, Division of Economic Stability. Are you referring to the child support item number 12? Here, I couldn't hear you very well.
Lead main
Oh, lead remediation, yes. That's included in this particular grant opportunity. So if providers have that as an issue, they can include that in their application, and many of them have.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
sorry.
right, thank you. Appreciate that.
Good morning. So the contract 13 is to fulfill the work that was essentially not finished by the Steve Collective on business health assessments, correct?
It is to get the money out, that the work that was completed and the money that hasn't been distributed, we will be distributing that money.
Well, but it was the work of the Steve Collective to do so.
Correct.
At the June 28, 2023 Executive Council meeting, I asked DHHS if this out-of-state entity had the capability of fulfilling the contract, and Ms. Hardy responded yes. A known New Hampshire vendor with a more competitive proposal was not given this award. So the goal was to reach over 600 child care providers. Is it correct that 57 checks are going out?
There are over 670 providers that were all made aware of this contract and had voice into it, and out of that, 57 of them have chosen to step up and work with the vendor.
So their budget is vastly salary and wages. Fiscal year 24, the amount is $2.8 million, and 2.3 was budgeted for staff salaries and fringe benefits. I asked Ms. Santianello how much of it is spent down, because my conversations with child care providers have been disturbing. There have been numerous instances of child care providers under the watch of Steve who were deemed uncoachable. They were being told to skip the coaching and just submit $25,000 in invoices. A provider who asked the vendor which methodology would be used for certain DSIP submissions was given the option, gently encouraged, to drop out of the program. One center had 2 hospitalizations, despite having a legitimate reason, to having to cancel an appointment. The vendor communicated with the owner, asking them to leave the program. While discussing health and staff concerns, the vendor suggested using their behavioral health services. I'm not impressed with this vendor, as you can tell, and I'm going to read from a very intelligent business owner. Within 10 minutes, I received an email from you personally, the entity, the vendor, removing us from the program. People have been denied access to this program. They've been discouraged to ask questions. This has been an epic failure, and it's resulted in delays. My child care providers have been intimidated. They've been bullied. I hope you will look into this. And they've also been misinformed. One provider submitted $31,000 in receipts May 31st of this year. 2 months went by, no answer, no response. They were initially told, oh, you're good. So 2 months go by. They were told they're only eligible for $6,000. The clock is ticking. They missed that deadline. There are just so many missed opportunities. I can't say enough.
So I have to be clear. The department is well aware of all of these instances, which is exactly why they're taking action against the vendor. So this is, And I don't know if you, how much you can go into that, Commissioner.
Obviously, we have a procurement process, right, that we use, and we have vendors that don't end up meeting the expectations. It's our responsibility to take action when they don't, and that's exactly what we're doing here. So, and I would say that there's some instances that you're citing, but for the most part, we have a great relationship with our child care providers, and we value their work, and we want to keep them going, and that's why we're here today, asking you to move this item so that we can get that money out to them and continue to engage
No,
them.
and I fully support this contract, but we could have avoided this a year ago.
Further discussion? Oh, Ms. Wong.
Just a quick calculation. If there are 57 child care centers applying for this money, I'm also on item 13, and the most that they can get each is $25,000. That comes out to a 1.425 million. This is 5.2 million here.
Correct.
So what's happening with the rest of this money?
So if we get the 57 providers, the money that's owed to them, we're looking at the remaining funds and working with the child care providers about other ways to be able to utilize those funds before the deadline so that they don't go to waste.
Right. So when I spoke with your department earlier about this, I was told that the data, the information that SEED had collected will be used as the basis for allocating funds to the various child care centers. So if there have been flaws in the process heretofore, then those flaws are being perpetuated in this distribution. It seems to me that there really needs, I understand the time frame that you're under, but action has been, very late taken here. The money has to go out by the end of September. Right now, it looks like at most 1.4 million is going to go out. I think there needs to be really a concerted effort to do an immediate reach out to child care centers all across the state. To make sure
there has been.
this money goes out.
I can allow Karen to elaborate.
Thank you for the question, Councilor. So we have done some extensive outreach to the providers about this opportunity. So over 732 providers could apply for this particular grant. We received 57 applications. We're processing them now. I will tell you that I'm fully confident that we will get the funding out to them. The vendor was tasked with putting together the design and methods for distributing this money. We're awarding it, the application process, the supporting documentation that was needed. They were tasked with doing that. They did do that, but there were certainly concerns along the way of that, which is why we are here asking for this. So I have all the confidence, as I mentioned, in being able to distribute the funds as quickly as possible, and as soon as you are able to approve this particular item, then I expect we will initiate the grant agreements with those particular applicants immediately.
Yeah, I understand that, and I support that. That's 57 times 25,000. That's 1.425 million. That leaves almost $4 million on the table. It's not being distributed. What is the plan for the $4 million?
So we've been in conversation with the Federal Office of Child Care about that and wanting to make sure that within the boundaries of the allowable uses for those funds, we are making some decisions about how we will disperse those funds identified as related to quality and making sure that there's a fair distribution of that balance so that we're not returning any of it to the federal government. That is the plan.
I just want to echo that. I appreciate you went through your procurement process and selected a provider, but they failed. And the timeline here is so late that this, I just hope that you are going to make the necessary effort, concerted effort to get the rest of this money out to the child care providers that need this. We are in a crisis in this state for child care.
It is a significant priority.
Thank you.
Steve?
And again, those are 57 that completed the process. We don't know how many dropped out. in my district alone, countless providers dropped out because of capricious rules established by Steve, bullying, I mean, it goes on, and I will end there, but,
Okay, thank you. Any further questions on items 12 and 13? Okay, all in favor of items 12 and 13, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Those items are approved. I'll now ask for a motion to adopt agenda item 13A from the Department of Health and Human Services from New Hampshire Hospital.
Second.
Any discussion? Council Warrington.
So I just want to say, Governor, this is not on this item, but on item 83 relative to Hampstead Hospital. There are a lot of questions related to that item, and I'm just asking if the commissioner will make herself available to answer those questions when that item is on the agenda.
I will make myself available, but the item is about YDC, not Hampstead, just for clarification.
Understood.
Further discussion? Okay, all in favor of item 13A, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 13A is approved. Could I have a motion to adopt agenda item 13B from the Department of Transportation?
Second.
Any discussion? Councilor Diaz.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Good morning, Councilor Wayne Capp with the Department of Transportation.
I'm feeling we're so close to exit 4A, and there's nothing on the agenda for 4A.
It's the vagary of the process, I think. I know there are still things circulating through, but yeah, we're right down the street, and we're getting ready to open bids on August 15th for the next contract.
Good.
Councilor Grillo.
While we're on off subjects, how are we making out with the insurance companies for the rail trail with the Milford Bennington Railroad? See if we can get the snowmobiles back on that trail.
I'll have to get you an update. I know the attorneys are still talking to try to resolve it. I know you had also mentioned if that doesn't meet an unused portion of the line further to the west, we can look at that. So we will be looking at that. But I'll provide you a more comprehensive update.
Thank you.
Further discussion for DOT? Okay, hearing none, all in favor of 13B, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That item is approved. We do have one table item from the Department of Transportation. I apologize, I don't think we discussed this during the breakfast meeting, but is there an interest in removing table item 23?
Governor, I think we should move to remove item 23 from
Okay,
the
so you have a
table.
motion to remove from the table? Second. All in favor of removing item 23 from the table, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 23 is removed from the table. All in, sorry. Can I get a motion to adopt formally table agenda item 23?
For discussion, I move.
Sure. Second. Discussion, Councilor Whitman.
Yes, we've had discussions with the Department of Transportation on this, and they're in the process of getting prices to purchase these offices directly, and so I think that they would agree that at this time we can fill this item, and they would most likely be back with another item, probably for purchase.
Yes, that's fine. I haven't had the chance to brief your staff. I've had some information back and forth with Councilor Wheeler on that. That would be our move to withdraw the item, whether we do it here or after this. I can work with DAS to remove the item at the department's request.
Okay, well, I will just vote me down.
Yeah.
Any further discussion on this? Okay, all in favor of killing the table item 23, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That item 23 fails, and we'll come back to the new plan. Right. All right.
Thank you.
Moving on, I'll ask for motion to adopt agenda item 14 from the Housing Appeals Board. Second, thank you. Any questions on item 14? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 14 is approved. Can I have a motion to adopt agenda item 15 from the Office of the Advocate for Special Education?
Second.
Any discussion? Council Warming?
Do we have somebody from the office? The special ed advocate here.
Governor, I guess
Well, it's items for her salary.
Right.
So maybe it's not too sure.
yeah, I mean,
We can discuss.
the item,
They're certainly attached to us, so if it's something technical, I might be able to.
yeah, the item is for a salary increase of the special advocate, and it's signed by the special advocate. And I'm not sure that our rules allow that, but I don't know what happens when you have an office of one. I also made a phone call, a reach out, and had not heard back. So maybe we could just.
I would say that
I'd like to know how things are going over there, and you know what, I have a number of questions because we really don't hear from the special advocate very often. So I thought I would see her here today. But I also don't know that it's appropriate for us to be approving an item signed.
So, good question. So let's take this second part first. And I guess I'm looking to both you, Commissioner, and the Attorney General. Is that allowed?
So with the small independently attached agencies, this is what typically does happen, because nobody else can sign the items. They're the agency head. And it's often the case for an agency head, the item is going to be signed because the items are meant to be signed by the head of the agency. When somebody signs an item for an agency that is not the head of an agency, for example, you'll occasionally see Sherry will sign stuff for me, and I'll say for Commissioner Arlinghouse. She's signing because I've given her power of attorney to sign as if she's agency head, so it's actually the same thing. But this is how this is done in the state. And when they're unclassified, it's easier. There are a couple of small agencies that are headed by a classified employee. And in an oddity of state government, their time card has to be signed by somebody. And in those very few agencies, oddly, the time card is signed by the deputy, and the deputy's time card is signed by the head of the agency, which is also weird.
Then the Attorney General agrees that it's appropriate for us to act on this.
Yes, I agree that it's appropriate. There's no legal prohibition. And at the end of the day, it's a request. So she's not approving her own raise. And when this happens, an agency head's not approving their own raise, but they have to get the request submitted to the governor and the council.
Got it.
And so, yes, it's
And I appreciate the awkwardness of Ms. Mancheroni having to write her own letter of recommendation. And I don't want to hold it up. I have heard good things, but perhaps we'll just have her at a breakfast meeting.
How many, Commissioner, how many agencies have one employee raised?
There are, I think actually there's only one agency that I'm aware of that has one actual employee. Technically, the Office of Special Ed, I can get updated numbers, but I think right now there is the director, and I think she has 1.5 employees too. A couple smaller ones have one in part-time, but I think it's only the Right to Know Advocate that's a technical agency that has only one.
So
If I'm correct, Counselor, I think your agency for a while had one employee. You had Megan, right? Yeah. There could be a few out there.
But, so that's the point, that you're part of the agency.
I know. No, and I'm not complaining about it, but I imagine there's got to be maybe a few that are.
Well, the smallest ones, if you think about it, right, the Right to Know Advocate is just Tom.
Yeah.
The Commission on Aging, one and a part-timer. Special Ed Advocate is moderately small. Child Advocate has a handful of employees. Housing Appeals Board is kind of small. Conservation Land Stewardship has 2. Those are the smallest.
Just to follow up to that, 9/10 of the law is perception often, so if the public were to look at this, maybe there should be a disclaimer on the bottom that says, the reason why we're doing this is because it's one person agency. I think that's where we're going with this, is that there should be a disclaimer. So the public knows the person can come in and request her salary increase, so, their own salary. So I think I would just say in the future, make sure there's a disclaimer there of some kind.
Okay.
I mean, there's somebody that she reports to. You, Governor, somebody that could sign this.
Yeah, she doesn't report to me, actually. We nominate her, but her and the child advocate technically don't report to me. You know what I mean? That it's a very unique position. It's not very good.
You could argue they, all of us.
Well, I could argue, you could argue that.
We could argue they report to the governing council.
Well, let's just say,
I mean, it's somebody, they report, and which is why the governing council have to approve their,
Yeah. Okay, so let's do this. If you'd like, we would like to table it. We can table that. Is that what you want?
No, I don't see a needing to hold it up if the Attorney General is saying that we can technically do this. I've heard good things. I'll just invite her to speak at a breakfast.
Yeah, so you bring up a very good question. I imagine, and I don't mean to put you on the spot again, Charlie, because you're the most administratively attached. I imagine I don't think it's been a full year. Maybe it's been about a year since she came on. Is there an annual report, that would be due out of?
I don't know that office has an annual report requirement, but I'm not sure I would know.
Okay. Well, again, maybe to your point, Nelson, maybe a good idea to bring her in, not to read her brag act, but to get kind of a report on how things are going.
Sure.
I think the biggest challenge I've heard is the lack of staff. Right, being an advocate for all these parents that are clearly special ed challenges, and literally being the only person from the whole state trying to handle quite an overload of potential cases. Okay. All right. So with that being said, all in favor of item 15, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 15 is approved. I'll now ask for motion to adopt agenda item 16 and 16A from the Office of Professional Licensure and Certification. Any discussion on either of these items? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The items are approved. I'll ask for a motion to adopt agenda items 17 through 19 from the Community Development Finance Authority. Any discussion? Oh, sorry. Second. Thanks. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of these items, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? They're approved. Sorry, that's okay.
There's a typo on agenda item 19. The cover page, it shows the amount on the agenda. It shows it as pending $1.777 million, but it should be 1.1. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, because the change in the amount increased.
Okay, so that's within the item on the page.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll just talk.
Okay, we made a note of it, but with that, the items are approved?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. I'll now ask for a motion to adopt agenda item 20 from the Department of Agriculture, Market Sensitive. So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 20 is approved. Could I have a motion to adopt agenda item 21 from New Hampshire Public Security?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And 21 is approved. Could I have a motion to adopt agenda item 22 from the Department of Corrections?
Second.
Thank you. Any questions on item 22? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 22 is approved. We also have tabled item 34 from the Department of Corrections. Is there a request or a motion to remove item number 34 from the table?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on that item?
Table motion.
On the sorry. I'm sorry. All in favor of removing item on item 34 from the table, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That item is removed. Thank you. Can I now get a motion to adopt formally table item 34?
So moved for discussion.
Second.
Motion and second. Questions on item 34? Did you have a question?
Well, we've been in discussion with the Department of Corrections and given them a barrage of questions along with the questions the other counselors had asked at our previous meeting, and I believe that the commissioner is willing to withdraw this item or is not opposed to us killing this item and come back with a different proposal and have some time to gather some more facts for us.
Okay. Further discussion? No?
Well, I just heard my colleagues and vote no.
Oh, okay.
And can I ask a question? Commissioner, what Council Wheeler just said, is that correct?
That's 100% accurate.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Further discussion? Okay. All in favor of item table item 34, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Oh, sorry. That's the whole committee passed. Any opposed?
No?
Thank you. And table item 34, okay?
Thank you.
Moving on, I'll ask for a motion to adopt agenda items 22 through 29 from the Department of Energy. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on any of these items? Okay, seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No on 23.
Thank you, Governor. No. 23. That's passed. So moving on, I'll ask for a motion to adopt agenda item 30 for the Governor's Office of Emergency Relief and Recovery.
So moved.
Any discussion on item 30? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That item is approved. Could I have a motion to adopt agenda items 31 through 35 from the Department of Business and Economic Affairs? Please note that item 32 is not being used.
So moved.
Any discussion for EEA? Councilor Kenny? Come on.
Hi, Councilor. Taylor Caswell.
Commissioner, this question is more like to go for ARPA questions. Do we anticipate more demolition contracts coming before the council and investigation or other types of grants coming before the council?
Yes, there are, we have a pipeline of projects still in place that we're working through, so we'll have some more coming, but we are reaching the end of the available funds for the municipal per unit program and the demolition program.
So what council meeting do you think will end this program?
You really put me on the spot. I don't really know. I'd have to double check, but it would be, I'm going to guess, like randomly October, November time period.
So the follow-up question, do you anticipate any new proposals or every proposal that's in the pipeline will be get funded or not and let it dry out?
That would be what we're looking at doing. I think probably sometime in the next week or so, we'll effectively pause the application, so we'll allow people to apply, but we'll say, we're going to have to say it'll be dependent on available funds. So ones that are in the pipeline right now, we're going to keep moving those through, but at some point here very shortly, we're going to have to say, you can apply, but at this point, we're unsure whether or not there's going to be funding available to fund your request.
So follow up to that, because sometimes developers will come in and they'll say, I want to apply, it might be the last chance, but it's also nice to know how much money is left.
Yeah.
Because otherwise they just might not apply if they know there's only $200,000 left or whatever.
Yeah, and I don't have that number right in front of me today, Councilor. I'd be happy to send around where we stand as of right now on all those programs.
I think it would be helpful,
Okay.
because it's much like ARPA money, this money is going to land, but it's good to know, because we do get requests from time to time.
Well, it is ARPA funding, actually.
That's what I'm saying, sure.
I know, different hat.
Yeah.
Councilor Warren?
Yeah, we had a conversation earlier this week about this project, demolition project money, and right now, it's like everyone that has applied has been funded. And as you go forward, are you going to apply those funds on a first-come, first-served basis, or are you going to rank them and distribute funds based on rankings?
I think probably, well, first a couple of things. With regard to those two, to the municipal per unit and the demolition program, we operate kind of almost like a pre-application process with the municipalities. So, we're working with them to identify whether this is going to be eligible under the rules. And if it is, then it goes forward. And so that's why we end up with a lot of projects that just make their way right through that process. We're just making sure that all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed, et cetera. There will be a point, though, where it's like who's in the pipeline and what position they're in will be the determinant rather than some sort of scoring mechanism.
Further discussion? Okay, thank you. All in favor of items 31 through 35 with the exception of 32, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No on 33 and 4.
No on 33, 34. Those items are approved. Could I have a motion to adopt agenda item 35A from condition D to pass? Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 35A approved. Could I have a motion to adopt agenda items 36 and 39 for the Department of Natural and Cultural Resources?
Second.
Any discussion? Councilor Kenny.
Good morning, Brian Wilson, Director of Parks and Recreation.
Good to see you, Director. Good morning. I just have a couple of questions. We'll start with Leaf State Park. So we've got a contract on here to do some music work that's kind of been hanging out for quite a while, and that's good. And Leaf State Park Association, the work with you, really they're excited that this is moving forward, or it's taking a little bit longer than they wished. But on the next contract for the actual main building, can you tell us how much it's going to be and when we can expect to see the contract with the Government Council?
Sure, yeah. So the bids just came in a few weeks ago for that project. Not a surprise, they were a little bit higher than estimated, which exceeded our historic sites ARPA funding allotment. So we went through and did some kind of calibrating of other capital account funds, and we are on the next fiscal committee agenda for a request to utilize some of the Moose Plate funds. So assuming that that's approved, we'll be coming forward to Government Council shortly thereafter to move that contract forward. So the total was a little over $3 million, 3.2, 3.8 for that total contract. So it's going to be a combination of ARPA funds, Moose Plate funds, some of our historic sites capital funding. So we recognize that this was our real one shot to get that project done, and so we got to create some funding.
Do you know when the fiscal committee meets next?
That is it's 16th, thank you.
The 16th of
Yes.
August?
Yes.
So it's a good chance we'll see you at the next Government Council meeting on the 30th?
Yes.
Okay. Excellent. Now, the other questions I had was, as you know, you sent out a nice detailed email yesterday, I believe. I sent out to the council the damage from the Pittsburgh trail system, and it's really been about 13 months since the initial storm last year, July storm of 2023. And so the trail system, for all intents and purposes, is still damaged. So the pictures that you see today before you on the council are the pictures that are out there in the field. One of the questions that's been brought to me, and you kind of answered, is when we received ARPA funding earlier in the year to request to do some of the work, can you explain that process? Because there seems to be a communication out there in the Pittsburgh area that we're waiting on money, why is it taking so long? And so can you just explain that process?
So there's no ARPA funding associated with the trail for Pittsburgh. Are you referring to Headwaters or other?
There was money that was set aside for headquarters.
Sure.
I understand.
Okay.
So last year, I think you filed it.
Yeah, so there was legislation this past session relative to statewide storm damage. Out of that, there was $1 million allocated through ARPA in April. And so we stood up a $1 million grant round program to run concurrently with our grant and aid program. So very similar rules and scoring criteria that was going on. So that application period took place during the month of April, and in June and early July, all of those contracts were back from all of the clubs. We had informed them of their awarding of it, and we're working through the process of all of the contracting components for this entirely new program. It's anticipated to be on the August 30th GNC agenda for all of those ARPA trail repair grant contracts.
So one of the concerns with some of the clubs is that the ARPA money has to be, kind of spent first, if you will, because obviously there's an immediate time limit on that. And then the grant and aid money has to be spent by May next year. So as you can imagine, there's been a lot of business, activity that's been lost up there because of lack of the trail system, being repaired, within a reasonable time. And so that's one concern. And the other concern is making sure that the both funding sources are synchronized so they can move forward and help repair those trail systems. Because, Pittsburgh's a long way from Concord, so sometimes I think the communication that Haley get is when contracts are finished, where they should really be getting communication throughout, the process, throughout the months and days, so that they understand what's going on. Because there seems to be kind of a misunderstanding up there that we're not really responding as quickly as we should.
Sure. Well, we recognize the frustration and the eagerness of the clubs to be able to get the work done. The challenge for us was really being able to determine when the green light was going to come on from the start. So we would have liked to have been able to say, we're running this application now, you can expect awards by such and such time frame. But with it being completely new for us and working through with Gopher and the AG's office to just make sure that we've got everything that's required in this program, that's taken us a little bit, but we're close to having all that stuff ready for the next GNC, and then the second that is passed at the next meeting, these clubs will all be notified that they can get all of that underway.
So I just recommend in the future that, legislation, department, the NCR, that there has to be a streamlined process working with these clubs so that we can effectively understand where the money is, how to execute it, and fix it in, or get it out to the clubs. Because right now, they don't, with the grant and aid program, they feel like they're a year behind spending last year's money and this year's money that's coming in. And that's the process, the way it's currently set up. But particularly, when there are natural disasters or storm damage, much like the Department of Transportation, we need to create a system whereby it's nimble and it's responsive to that emergency situation. And that's something I think the department can look at legislation in the future, but possibly some guidance and assistance from the Hampshire DOT on how we can fix this rail system a little bit more quicker, so the business community doesn't get impacted as much.
Yeah, no, that's great. And actually, Commissioner Cass and I were talking about that very thing this morning, about how they do it and how it's structured and how the NCR can perhaps take some tips from that in terms of storm response and being more ready to go when things happen.
So we call it proactive.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Further
discussion? Councilor Wheeler?
I kind of wanted to get an update on the rail trail repairs in Swansea. I'm not sure if my storm became before Councilor Kenny's storm, but I would like to think it did. But we got a 30-foot ravine in somebody's backyard, essentially, and people are using the rail trail and then walking right next to his house to get back out to the street. So how are we doing at getting funding these other rail trail projects.
Yeah, so I have some, I think, good news relative to the trail in Swansea, and an update from our agency FEMA coordinator yesterday. We did receive funding from FEMA for design and engineering services for the Swansea rail trail section. So we're going to get that off the ground and get that contracting started now so we can get the design and engineering underway. As you know,
Could you just send me an email memo on that, please?
Absolutely, yeah.
Thank you.
Further discussion for our friends at Natural Cultural Resources? Okay. All in favor of items 36 through 39, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Those items are approved. Moving on, I'll ask for a motion to adopt agenda items 40 through 55D from the Department of Environmental Services. Second. Any discussion? Any of the DES items? Okay, seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Those items are approved. Could I have a motion to adopt agenda items 56 through 62 from the Department of Corrections? Education. Sorry for that. Not that you can do the job. But any questions for our friends at the Department of Education? Oh, sorry, can I get a motion for the DOE guidance?
Okay.
Thank you. Any questions? Thank you for DOE. Okay, hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Those items are approved. I'll now ask for a motion to adopt agenda item 63 from the Community College System of New Hampshire.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 63 is approved. Good to see you, Mr. President. I see you back there, Chuck. Good to see you. Thanks for coming down. Everything good up there?
Great, Governor, Council. Thank you very much.
That's great. Moving forward, I'll ask for a motion to adopt agenda item 64 from the Lottery Commission. So moved. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That item is approved. Could I have a motion to adopt agenda item 65 through 67A from the Department of Safety? Any discussion? Councilor Stevens?
Good morning, Governor, Council members, Director, Robert Quinn, Department of Safety.
Good morning, Commissioner. In regards to agenda item 67A, I was thrilled to see every single one of my D3 municipalities in there. But I noted that there were no fire extraction, either applicants or dispersants. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, as of the writing of this, but there's still opportunities in this federal fiscal year if they can apply, so it's kind of fluid, so we'll be ready to make an amendment. So there will be further opportunities. I asked the same question.
Thank you.
Further discussion for the Commissioner of Safety? Councilor Kennedy.
I just want to thank Commissioner staff and Commissioners and the Academy Fire Academy Director and others who have the groundbreaking for that expansion project and the Bravery Fire EMS Academy. We're putting in over $6 million in there, Governor, and the BMV is going to be a part of that as far as our CDL training is going to be conducted here as well.
Yeah, I want to thank the Governor and each of you for your support, so I think they are going to turn what's been good to great up there, but the partnership with the DMV, commercial testing, the enhancements we're going to make there, the utilities, the training, the PFAS awareness, I think it's tremendous. So thank you for attending, and I'd be remiss if I didn't thank you for your support, and happy without each of you.
Yeah, again, thank you for support for the North Country firefighters and EMS people. I did have another question. I guess it has to do with a couple of things on the border. One is we're doing great up there. The 2-year enforcement program. Talk to the business community. They're happy with the presence of law enforcement, and it's really, the activity is really slowed down. Really interesting. We continue to work on the communications piece, and we obviously have, I think, done an understanding of the government MOU that is going to help us out. But can you explain to the public a little bit as much as you can on the great strides that we've made so far?
Sure, and I have to be remiss if I didn't give credit, first on a couple different fronts to the agreement with Canada that's been ratified by the government. I think it's tremendous. It shows that they recognize the issue on their side and our side of the border. More important, this agreement is going to work together. We're going to exchange information. I've already sent a letter to the Prime Minister to ask for the first meeting, get a list of their folks, their team, our team, to continue to work. So we move this agreement forward, and we have a process that it continues into the future. So to that agreement, if the government wanted to say more, but you get the credit for that.
No, it works. It's good. And you're seeing, and to your point, Councilman, you're talking the same business. You're seeing a lot of results. If you make the investment and the messaging is there, and the coordination is there, it all really works. And you don't ignore things. Good stuff happens.
Into the program itself, the Attorney General's office, they were critical in training all of the team, local law enforcement, the sheriffs, from many departments up there. They're working together, so they've been trained properly. They're out there. They're working closely with their federal partners. I can't stress that enough. The relationship we have with the local law enforcement, the troopers, the sheriffs, and Border Patrol. So they are, as I said, we've really amplified the presence of law enforcement here. So I believe that it will be a deterrent. It will be known. People will see them, and hopefully it has the right outcome that we all seek.
Further discussion? Councilor Warmington?
How many apprehensions have we seen on the New Hampshire border as a result of the investment?
I would point you to the CEP on that, but I can't speak to any right here that I'm aware of.
Close to zero.
It's zero.
Which is awesome. We didn't invest the money to make apprehensions. We invested the money to get it to zero. So that's a job well done.
I just wanted to wonder if on 67A we're talking about highway fatalities. We know that we've had an increase in highway fatalities. I wonder if you could speak to that. Where are we and what is it that we can do to help?
Sure. Thank you for the question, and that is important. And if the question is, are we aware of it? Yes. We monitor this weekly. We push out from the DMV a weekly update on the fatals. And actually, where we are as of August 5th is we are actually down 4.9%. However, it has been I would say, a year we've seen multiple victims. It's been a tough stretch here. In 22, Council, we had 137 fatals, which resulted in 146 deaths, loss of life. In 2023, we had 122 fatals, which resulted in 130. Same period last year, we were at 70, we're at 67. However, what is the strategy? So we have the Office of Highway Safety that has to put out a program. So we look at a program based on data, high crash corridors. We have money that goes to speed enforcement, DUI enforcement, pedestrian ed, motorcycle. We're seeing an increase. We can look at this just from my, looking at this as I was sitting here. LMAP's seen a tremendous increase this year. There's some areas that are going down, but we have to really look at the data. So we're working on saturation controls, high crash corridors. But I think moving forward, we just presented our fiscal year 25 plan to NHTSA. We want to look at investing more in education and public awareness, but I think if you just read the notes and look what's happening, we're out there, but the speeds are extremely high. And so we really all have to do our part to spread the message to just, it's speed, it's distraction, it's impairment. So I think the Office of Highway Safety is working hard, they care, and we're trying to run a program that will ultimately drive these numbers down. But you are correct. There's been some significant tragedies that we've seen recently over the summer. And we're hoping that the rest of August, when we get through the holidays, we can drive the number down.
Further discussion? Okay, all in favor of item 65 through 67A, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Those items are approved. I'll now ask for a motion to adopt agenda items 68 through 70 from the Department of Justice.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Those items are approved. Can I have a motion to adopt agenda items 71 to 83 from the Department of Administrative Services? Any discussion? Councilor Stevens?
Good morning.
Hi.
In regards to agenda item 83, please, and this may be a question for DHHS, I believe there's a statutory limit on the amount of beds that can be placed at this facility, and that is 18, is that correct?
Yes.
This could potentially go up to 25, correct?
No.
This,
Let me explain. There's a very poorly written item in front of you, and it's very badly written. The project is not changing, and the tasks assigned to the engineering firm are changing. And the explanation for why the tasks assigned to the engineering firm, which continues through construction, are changing, references a number of beds. 18 beds is the facility is being built as an 18-bed facility. And there are a number of other beds, like a bed that someone can be on in the facility for other purposes. And so when engineers wrote this and I signed it, it was lost on them and me that we're not, it's still an 18-bed facility, but like there's a bed in the infirmary too, and that.
okay, just a follow-up for clarification. So these beds could be for intake and, to your point, infirmary purposes.
Yeah, intake, and it's part of when you're designing the building, and so for what the building is going to be, and the program for the building hasn't changed in a year-ish. But when you're doing the design work, there are all kinds of engineers going through stuff, and an architect and engineering firm, and then they meet with the people who are designing it, and they're going, no, you can't have that here, you have to have that here. And so there's all of that. No, there does actually have to be a bed in the infirmary, and a second.
And we've seen the increase of the request, I believe it's from 25,000 square feet to 34,000, and that is driven by, I don't want to say acuity, but the type of children that would be, or young adults, that would be there's a gain factor that has to be addressed for this increase.
I think so. That I am going to start exploring on because I don't know.
Can you rephrase say the question again?
So we're seeing a proposed increase from 25 to 34,000. That's driven by the change, the acuity, or the young adults that will be at the facility. A gang presence is the concern, correct?
So we've been working on this design for over a year. So I had gone back last year to ask for money, and that's, I believe, in the square footage increase. We have youth that range from a variety of issues, right? And so we do have some gang-involved youth, but they're not all gang-involved youth. We have youth that have incidents with each other in the facility where they need to be separated by sight and sound. We're separated for crisis intervention. So if I have 14 people in the facility, such as I do today, they're actually spread out over multiple units. The space has to be big enough to be able to swing to accommodate what the need is, and that's what you see there.
And just a final question, please. The Public Safety Subcommittee continues to meet, correct? Regarding...
For YDC?
Yes.
Correct.
And the facility. I'm learning from 2 fire professionals in Hampstead that they found out about these proposed changes via social media. My recommendation would be bring them to the table, inform them, update them. It's a better way to proceed.
I will be clear, we have had people at them at the table. We have tried to inform them. I had a town meeting where I had a whole presentation to be able to share what the design was and what all the level of detail was to that design. That did not happen based on the response of the town and what they wanted answered during that meeting. We have shared plans at the YDC Commission meetings as well. It's not a secret. I don't know why anyone's finding out anything on social media, but we've been about as transparent as we can be. With this bill, there's no need to be anything otherwise.
Well, I want to make it clear here that it is Chief Carrier who stated he found out about it via social media.
To be very clear, that is completely on the town and Chief Carrier.
Is it possible that
No,
this
excuse me.
item we found out about?
No. The number of public meetings that have happened over this facility and the transparency of this department has been eminently clear. The attempts of the town to not have that discussion, to not participate in discussion is 100% on the town of Hampstead and those individuals. So all that, I've seen all these presentations. That was all presented. So I can understand that people might want to start complaining about the department that they read about something on social media. That is on them and that is on the town. I think the department has gone above and beyond anything that I ever foresaw in terms of the communication and transparency on the project. I understand some people don't want the project in the town. It's being built. It needs to be built. It's going to be a great facility for the state. There's no doubt about that. So I'm going to push back on behalf of the commissioner that is misinformation. And I'm not going to let that get out there in the public sphere, that somehow the department isn't being ultimately completely transparent about every aspect. They've opened themselves up to answer all the questions and all the details of this. So nobody should be finding out about anything on social media if they participate in the process, which is very open and public.
Gisela, he is a member of the subcommittee, and he is stating he learned about it on social media. That's the information that I have. But I just want to stress, the firefighters, leadership, they're fatigued.
I want to be clear that we have meetings that are open to the public as well, and not everyone on the commission meeting may be able to meet a meeting. So I can't speak specifically to that example, but nobody has been left out. We've been very transparent. I just want to be clear. We have YDC Impact Commission meetings on a regular basis, and this information is shared.
Councilor Gadsden.
Thank you, Governor. The problem I have is that the price is increased by 25%. Now, if we're not adding beds, what's the increase for?
I can send a memo to Joe Biden, and we can talk about what inflation is. That's what it is. I mean, because the project is taking 2 years. I don't mean to step on your toes, Commissioner, but inflationary costs and design costs are escalating all over.
We can turn around and point fingers to whoever we want, that's fine. I don't have a problem, but I'm looking at a 25% increase.
It's huge.
Yeah.
I can't support that.
Maybe
we need to table it and have you rewrite something that makes it clearer with what we're doing.
Do you mean the engineering contract or the cost of the eventual project?
The engineering contract.
The engineering project is increasing because of the work, as it's understood that the engineers are doing on the project. The ultimate construction cost, which is a contract you'll see probably in, let's just guess, October, also increased. But this is about tasks that are being assigned. But if you want to table it and have me rewrite it, I'm good with that too.
I'm going to go off the table so it can be rewritten, so it's clear with what we're doing.
I'm going to stress, the problem we have is the project we can't let the project get delayed. How much, is it just a 2-week delay if this happens? It's not just rewriting an engineering contract. It's the constant attempts to delay this project on behalf of a lot of individuals that is going to cause a lack of services for these kids. These kids need services. This project should have been done a long time ago in my mind. And again, it's going to be a state-of-the-art, amazing facility to do what it's designed to do in a whole new way, which is exactly what we need. So if you can, I would just say, I'll let the council decide what they want to do. As long as you're talking about rewriting a contract, is that going to come back to us in 2 weeks?
I believe he's talking about me rewriting the letter. That is the direction I'm hearing that he would like to do.
I just want to be clear. I just want to make sure I can actually get intuition so we're not delaying this months and months and months. I don't know.
I mean, I can rewrite a letter quickly. It's not going to change anything, but I can rewrite a letter.
Councilor Gadsden, do you mind if I know you have a motion on the table as well? Governor?
Please.
My concern is you have specified the changes in scope that are warranting the change in the engineering contract. The first one is to increase the square footage. The second one is to increase the total number of beds from 18 to 25, to include 7 additional specialized beds for intake and crisis. The third one is moving from the initial residential look and feel of the secure construction to a more institutional and hardened type of secure construction. When I asked the commissioner of DHHS behind you about that, she declined to know about that. My concern is that what we have at YDC, we recognize is not the therapeutic model that we need to treat these kids. And I'm just not wanting to be moving to a rebuilding of a YDC-type facility, but just to have assurance that what we are getting, the new facility that we are getting is, in fact, as the governor described, a new model, a therapeutic treatment model, and not a corrections.
I believe the term hardening is used to describe the construction as opposed to the environment or the feel or of the facility. And it's meant to imply that things like walls and doors and windows, etc., have to be designed in a way that they can't be easily destroyed.
Well, let me just repeat this phrase for you. Moving from the initial residential look and feel of the secure construction to a more institutional and hardened type of secure construction. I'm just wondering if maybe the Commissioner of Health and Human Services can address that.
I believe Charlie addressed it when he opened it. The letter is not written properly to depict what the changes are. Those changes that are listed in there in terms of changing the number of beds and the hard look, none of that is accurate. We are 18 beds. We will have a therapeutic facility. We have always had to have hard materials for a secure facility, and we're going for a residential look and feel. That plan has not changed. So I think the letter is not accurately representing what this text is for. I think Charlie is.
The council then has before it a really inaccurate explanation, and for that reason I would second Councilor Gatz's motion to table, or to just withdraw this item, bring it back with the correct explanation, because this is every bit of this information that's been provided to us is now apparently, except for the change in the square footage, maybe inaccurate.
I'd say it's very, very badly written. I can, to the governor's point, I can rewrite a letter in English, and it won't cause any delays on anything, because we're actually not stopping doing anything. This amendment to the contract is not affecting any work that's going on today or next week.
So if I may, to do that, I believe we'd have to withdraw the item. A table item wouldn't change anything. I don't know if you want to do that. You could. Can you explain that? But
I don't think voting it down or withdrawing it makes a difference.
Okay.
If it's inaccurate, I support this facility. I want YDC closed. I want to create a therapeutic model, as you just described.
Okay.
But what's in this letter is actually a...
Okay, so then I believe that what I'm getting a consensus is the council is looking, will vote this down on the commitment that this will be on the agenda in 2.5 weeks, at the next meeting. Yes. Sorry, Council Commissioner.
I would prefer if we could just withdraw their item and resubmit it rather than voting it down.
That's fine. Okay. All right, so on the department's recommendation, she's going to provide the items be withdrawn. Okay. And the motion to table is now withdrawn to the item. Okay. Thank you, Councilors. All right.
And they're going to go to fiscal. Again, it means fiscal.
Hold on, fiscal. What's the request of the fiscal committee?
What's the request from fiscal?
Yeah, I don't know that.
I mean, I'm happy to talk to fiscal about anything you want, but this won't go to fiscal.
There is, people in the Senate are assuming that it's gone from 18 beds to 25. So I would think that we would want to get clarity out of the fiscal group so that they understand.
So if I can make a recommendation, what if he rewrote the letter and submitted that to fiscal? That's right, with clarification, acknowledging the misunderstanding and the poor writing of things, right? And I only bring that up to say, to acknowledge that we're not, that nothing is fundamentally changing acknowledging that it was worded poorly, there was a lot of misunderstanding, your sincere apologies. The governor will get you a thesaurus, you can use any hyperbole you want, but take to the council, right, and we're submitting to that. The item is not fundamentally changing, but a rewording of the item.
Yeah, what I'll do is I'll send a letter to the chair of fiscal.
That'd be great. That way then go through the whole fiscal process again, because otherwise we're going to be stuck here. And I don't think it needs to.
No, it's not. It would be
Okay, so that item is withdrawn. Further discussion on items 71 through 82. Okay, all in favor of 71 through 82, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Then those items are approved. And we will see everyone. We want to thank everyone at Pinkerton for hosting us today. Thank everyone for coming from the public. Our next meeting will be in the town of Wakefield on August 30th, Councilor Kenny? Yes, I believe. So we will see you all then. Thank you.
Governor, just